Jason and Jake here, coming in from At the Table, showing you our weekly haul for the week. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming back. Like and subscribe if you like the content. Give us some feedback. Tell us what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, what we can improve on. And let's get started.
All right. Yeah, we had such a good time last week. It's good to be back and being consistent. So we hope you guys are finding some enjoyment with this and maybe you're discovering some new books. Let's talk about, you know what, before we get started, let's take a minute and reach back to last week and talk about, we had a pretty good stack. I think this week's stack is actually a little bit smaller. Great books here nonetheless, but last week was pretty epic. There was a huge stack of reads, and I got a pretty good dent put in it, but I didn't manage to finish. There's some books I've just resigned myself to kind of filing away until the series is complete and coming back, but I did read a lot more than I have in the last couple weeks. I think you read a lot as well. What was your favorite book out of everything you read last week and why?
So, my favorite book by far, I was hyping it up last week. I'm going to hype it up again this week. For sure, Spider Shadow. Chip Zdarsky really delivered on this book. I'm super excited for the next issue. Just a different perspective on what would have happened if Peter Parker had kept the symbiote was really different and interesting. The art was really amazing and kind of gave like a different kind of Venom art, like more spidery.
Yeah, it was very dark, wasn't it? So you get the feeling that it's not going to be just a happy story. I get the feeling there's going to be some distinct consequences to what would have happened had Peter kept the symbiote. But it's Chip Zdarsky, it's Venom. Add those two things up, and we are all on board. And that was very nearly my pick.
So I'm going to be honest here before you get into it. His pick and my pick were so hard to choose the different from because his pick was just so... I was looking so forward to it from reading the other series about it.
Yeah, so after thinking about it and going back and forth, and I debated because we had Daredevil last week, we had Thor, we had Spider Shadow, we had a bunch of other great stuff. But ultimately, I landed on a DC book, which isn't, it's not that I'm not a DC fan, it's just I usually drift towards Marvel or independent. But far and away, my favorite read last week was Challenge of the Super Sons, #1. I love being back with these two characters. I love having Jonathan back to the proper age. I feel like the dynamic between Jonathan Kent and Damian is fantastic. I think that it's one of those situations where those characters make each other better, especially in Damian is far more likable, I think, in this series than he is in some of the later stuff. Now, I'm not a Damian hater. I'm excited about his solo series coming up later this year. But I really like these two characters together. I think DC had a great formula, a great family read. It's been one of our favorite father-son reads. And I really wish they would get a clue and fix it. I don't care what kind of mumbo-jumbo they need to do to de-age Jonathan, get it back to the status quo, and give us the book that we love. But in the meantime, I'm really enjoying this kind of limited run and reaching back and reading some new stories with these two. So that was my pick by far.
You want to get started into our haul?
Absolutely. So we did pick up, this week we got a few, let's knock out the variant covers first.
So I'm going to cover these two because I want to cover them. So first off, we got Scotty Young variant. We got a Valkyrie Scotty Young variant. I love the ones with the jokes. Scotty Young's variants are amazing. We have a box of like 20 or 30 of all the variants we could find just piled up. His art, in my opinion, is really funny, especially with the jokes, and I just really like it.
Yeah, especially the ones with the jokes laid out. We've got it always makes you and I laugh, and it's lighthearted, even on some darker books. It's fun to pick up those. I'm not sure I always love that style as an A cover, but I've loved picking up these variants with you. And right over there on the wall, we've got one of our pride and joys. Maybe we'll show it in a future video. We've got a series of Star Wars books that were all signed by Scotty Young, 3 connected covers.
We got a graded book from him, too.
We got a graded book from him as well. So always fun when we can pick up another. Let's show the other.
So this one is for the Way of X book that comes out. No joke. So a little less for me, but still, his artwork, in my opinion, is really funny.
And I like Nightcrawler, so it's hilarious.
I think he's a pretty cool character, too, so.
Yeah, I think we'll talk about that when we pull up the book. And one more, we did pick up one incentive book, and it actually surprised me because neither you or I are huge Momoko fans.
I think that's a little bit of an understatement, but yeah.
Some people love her style. There are things that I can say in the past that I didn't dislike, but I never loved any of it. The Carnage stuff, this one, and the variant that she did for the first issue of this, I actually liked.
Same.
So we saw the cover, and I didn't even realize it was by her when we decided to pick it up. So
this is a 1 in 25 incentive?
1 in 25 incentive. Yeah. So definitely fun. We're crazy about the symbiote stuff, so being a Carnage book, we had to add it.
And I think that covers the variants for this week, right?
Yeah, it was a light week for us for variants. So let's dive into some of our books.
So this book I'm going to talk about first. This is the Fortnite Batman Crossover. So this book has been getting, I think it's been getting a lot of attention because in this it is, if you compare the price of a skin, first off, to the price of the book, it comes with a free skin. And also, it's just a really cool crossover that they've done with Batman and Fortnite. And I think it's current on this season of Fortnite.
It is.
But I'm really excited to read this. I've been playing a lot of it. The skin is really cool that's added in there. But just in general, some of the variants, I think we have a variant in here for it.
We do. That's right here is the typical A cover, and we'll get into why. One of the other things that makes this book kind of cool for the Fortnite player, and maybe it's going to come as a good introductory to getting kids who are playing Fortnite into the comic shop and picking up these books, because they did something. Now, we did do the Marvel crossover. They had the Marvel crossover a little while back, right? We had Thor and Iron Man, and that was a lot of fun if you knew that it was there. Getting to play those characters, getting the skin, the live event was really, really fun. We had a lot of fun with that as a family. But the thing that they're doing a little differently here is not only do we have the story, and Batman is on the Fortnite Island, they're going into the 0 point, which you can talk about, I think has been a big story point for the last several seasons of Fortnite.
So basically, since season 3 or 4, this has been this massive kind of story arc of this 0 point that's this mystical power on this island. So basically Batman, a few other characters in the Fortnite realm, have been pulled in through a rift to Fortnite. And he has amnesia. He doesn't know where he is and all that sort of stuff. And it's just been, I know I played a lot. It's been super duper fun. So I'm really looking forward to reading this.
Now, the one thing that's also particularly cool with this, and tell them why that Fortnite fans who aren't necessarily reading comic books might be excited about dipping into comic books with this series.
So a normal Harley Quinn skin costs $15, first off.
Yeah,
and
those skins aren't cheap.
Costs $6, and there's the Harley Quinn skin in it.
Oh, this one, the A cover's only $5. It's $4.99.
Oh, yeah, it's only $5. But basically, it is it's just a way to get a cool skin. It's a way to get into the comics. You'll be helping out your local comic shop by buying this.
Yeah, what I understand, and talking to John briefly today about this very topic, and he highlights this book in the upcoming Stormwatch, I think is what we've branded that countdown video, when he highlights some of the books that he's excited about this week. But long story short, people are calling into the comic shop who've never been in the comic shop, aren't comic book readers, but kids are asking their parents. They know that there's a digital code in these copies. I think that's why they're polybag, and there's a sticker in there that reveals the one-time use code that gets kids. It's a Harley Quinn skin, and it's a pretty cool skin at that. And you say, it would normally be $15 or $20.
And not just that, but this skin hasn't come out a whole lot. There was a special event a few seasons ago that had it, and then it came out once or twice more, but you can't really get it that often. So just in general, this is a really cool book to have.
So not just a cool book, but it's pretty exciting to see DC come up, and it seems like they took what Marvel did with their partnership and bringing the Avengers into Fortnite and took it to a whole nother level with bringing Batman and some of those characters in and going a step further and giving you a digital code for the skins that you'll want to play if you're reading the story. So really excited about that.
I think this could also really help get gamers and other people that don't really read comics a lot into picking up these comics and going to this comic shop and maybe getting interested in more comic books. And
I think that's the hope. I think a lot of people don't realize how great these stories are, and it doesn't seem like they've always done the best job of getting folks into the local comic shops. So I'm hoping this works out and we get an influx, especially younger readers. You're certainly excited about it. Your little brother, who's 5, who always rags at us and says he hates comic books, just mostly because we're spending time with him, is suddenly really excited about a comic book because it's Fortnite and there's a digital code and a skin. And I got to imagine there's lots of young kids that are going to get fired up about this book because of that.
Yeah. You want to go on with our next pick?
Yeah, I'll pick up. We've got Alien #2. I really enjoyed. I actually did read Alien 1 when we picked it up that week. I'm not a huge Aliens fan, and I think we actually talked about it a little bit in one of our other videos.
Yep.
You haven't watched the movies yet, which we'll do at some point.
No, I do have a brief understanding of it. I know a little basic about it, but nothing much.
But I really enjoyed the feel. I'm not sure everyone loved it or all Alien fans, but I liked it. I thought it was an interesting read. There's a family angle. We've gotten to see the Xenomorphs a little bit. We've gotten to see how it's affected the main character as a survivor of running into these guys and what it's done to his life. And as he tries to get his life back together, he just can't get out of it. So I'm really looking forward to see where this story goes. And I plan, I always plan to, but I'm going to try to make sure I read that and get it down in the stack this week.
Okay, so next book on the list is Carnage, Black, White, and Blood 2. So you saw the 1 in 25 incentive done by Peach Momoko. This story is basically like a bunch of Carnage short stories and like a story branched off, just like the short little mini series.
Now, do you think someone needs to be really current or like a huge Carnage fan to enjoy this series?
No, not at all. I think you could just have like the brief understanding of a symbiote or Venom or any of them, and you could probably get the book.
Pretty exciting. We do have a Carnage is going to be in the next Venom movie. It's coming down the road, so maybe this will be a good this series could be a good jumping on point for some folks to kind of do their background before they watch the next movie.
Yep.
So what else you have?
Okay, so next we have The Mighty Valkyries, number 1. I haven't read the description of this book yet. I know that I've read all of or most of the King of Black Valkyrie series. I know who they are. I know a good bit about them, I'd say, and this book sounds really interesting.
From what I understand, it's Jane Foster thought she was the last Valkyrie for a long time. So now we clearly know through the events of King of Black and some of the stuff that we've read there that she's not. So now they're forming a team, kind of finding a new purpose, and I think it's the start of kind of the next chapter for Jane as part of the Valkyries. So we definitely enjoyed all the King of Black stuff and the things that came out of that. Probably some of my favorite Jane Foster stuff. So I'm looking forward to starting a new arc with that.
Next up, we got Amazing Spider-Man number 64. I don't know if this is still in the current arc or not. I'm a few books behind, I'm going to be honest.
And I'm way more than a few to be.
But I do know what's been happening in the new arc. I see he's not wearing the new costume, so I'm guessing it's not the new arc.
I'm hoping the new costume is gone. It was terrible.
I would agree, but, don't want to insult the people that do like it, but, like...
It wasn't our thing.
No, it wasn't. We'll just say that.
And then from what I understand of some of the backstory, I didn't enjoy why he was wearing it. But I got to go back and read it, to be fair. I can't prejudge it too much just from the flipping through I've done.
If this is still the arc, like, I read a little bit of it. I thought the idea was cool, but I think it was just, like... You'd be screaming at the book like, no, don't do that.
Yeah, I agree. So one day we will actually catch up. I think Spider-Man for me is one of those books where I am just going to binge it to catch up. I've been saving issues. I certainly can't keep up with it week to week. What else do we have?
We got Way of X. So I don't know too much about it. I know Nightcrawler is the main character. And I know it's kind of starting a new X-Men arc.
Yeah, from what I understand of this book, this is Nightcrawler, which I'm in. I have struggled with the X stuff a little bit. I tried to get into X of Swords, and I was trying to read the floppies weekly as they came out, and I just felt like I was missing so much backstory and having trouble piecing it together. I did stay on the book. I kept it on the pull list. I have it all, so my intention is to go back and read it, and I think it'll be a better experience for me just having all of the books. I won't forget it week to week. I'm hoping I'll track it better. But hearing John talk about this book and his weekly picks, having Nightcrawler kind of go into a protector mode for Krakoa, their new home, and trying to hunt down and keep everyone on the island safe, it kind of sold me. Not only that, I believe...
That is a front and back cover. I don't remember.
Yeah, I am a sucker for the wraparound covers.
Yeah.
And this one
I think it looks pretty good.
Beautiful. It is probably... John thinks it's one of the best X-book covers he's seen in a while. I'm inclined to agree, but I also really like these characters. It is definitely a really pretty wraparound cover. I would have put it in the collection for the cover alone, but I am going to give this a try. I'm hoping that I won't get so lost this time and I don't need to to go back and read too many issues to at least enjoy the story. We'll let you know next week how that works out.
So this is You Promised Me Darkness. I know basically nothing about this besides it's already getting like a lot of different spec and stuff, and it's already up to like $30.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was under ordered or what, but it's not why we picked it up. I put it on my list. I read an article about it months ago. The setup for this one is every time Halley's Comet has come around during this book, and with the comet there, it's basically giving people who were born at that time special powers. Either special powers, and I think there's another angle that the solicit talks about. It can either be a power or a curse. So this story is following a set of twins who have abilities that came from the comet in this incident, but they're also being pursued by this entity that's sort of the opposite of all that. And this thing, whatever it is, basically goes after these people that have these abilities, consumes their power, and it's become zeroed in and obsessed with tracking these twins down. So it sounded like a really fun read. It might be a little dark. I'm going to have to read it first before I can pass it on to you if you're even interested in it. But we'll see. I'm actually really excited about that one. It's a number one. Behemoth, I'm really enjoying a lot of their stuff. And number one in an indie book, I have to at least give it a try.
So next up, you're gonna have to talk about this book because I know practically nothing about it. It is Radiant Black. We got a B cover to it. We'll share that in a few minutes.
Radiant Black. I read issue 1. I've kept it on the pull list since then. I liked it, but I didn't love it. I felt like there was every issue 1 there's a lot of setup, but I feel like that particular one I felt like there was a lot of kind of the same themes over and over. The guy was, we get it, he's a starving writer, blah, blah, blah. He's going back to his hometown. And then at the end of it, something amazing happens, and he basically gets superpowers. I will admit I've been holding off on 2. I believe this is issue 3, right?
Yep.
So I'm giving this one more shot. I've got to be better about pulling stuff that there's so much good stuff to read that one of my resolutions recently is to just jump off books or maybe trade weight if it's not grabbing me. I'm going to read 2 and 3 and see if this grabs me and stay on. And like I said, I liked it with number 1, didn't love it. I'm eager to see if 2 and 3 improve on or build on it.
And that is the V cover. I know you liked this cover and you picked it up, being an IT guy and all.
I did. I'm a computer nerd, and it just caught my eye. It looks like the Mac desktop with Finder there, and it's playing on the fact that he's an author. And the pop-up window there says, "Are you really sure you actually want to attempt to write this novel? Do you really think you can do this? Hit yes or no." I liked it. Probably would have been even cooler if there had been a little more desktop details. Noel and I were talking about that at the shop as I was grabbing this. But I like it. The cover caught my eye. I thought it was that's one we should have talked about with the variants. I like the cover. I will put it in the collection. It was unique.
So this next book is Black Knight, Curse of the Ebony Blade. So I know I started picking this up because it was kind of like this storyline that this sword is the only thing that really could hurt and all. So I started reading it with the King of Black tie and all. And then
that went back in that he came in Symbiote Spider-Man for part of the King of Black, right?
Yeah.
That's where he first showed up and where we first started reading about him.
Yep.
So.
But yeah, and it's just been really good, even though like it's not either tied in with Null anymore. And I still really like it, and I'm still definitely gonna continue reading it until this book goes.
Okay. So that one will stay on the pull list. I have not read. We're only at issue number 2. It's one of those things I intend to read. Maybe this week I'll be able to catch up. We also had the Bequest, number 2 from Aftershock. This is another me book, not so much Jake. Although once I read it, you're a D&D guy too, just like I am.
Yeah.
So you may enjoy it. Now I will admit I have not finished reading number 1. I thumbed through it. It's another one of those where I think I'm going to save up a couple of issues, 2 or 3, read it and kind of go from there. But as I understand it, the pitch for this book, it's kind of a D&D party meets modern times. As they go after to try to protect or find these artifacts that have made their way into modern Chicago. So you've got maybe a fantasy / fish out of water thing going on there. A couple of folks I know were giving this book a try. They said good things. It's high up on my list. There's I'm not reading a ton of fantasy, so any D&D like stuff or fantasy stuff, I'm apt to give it a try.
Okay, so our next book is Woman of Marvel number 1. I picked this because I saw the Marvel. I don't know too much about this book. I'm assuming you probably know more.
Yep, I put it on the pull list when I saw the preview for it. It seems to me, it looks like this one is a series of short stories. We've been getting a lot of those lately, but these are all focused on some of the female characters of Marvel. And even cooler is we're getting female stories from female creators. And I'm really looking forward to kind of reading through these stories and getting that take and seeing how they're featured in this series. I believe this is a celebration of these characters and kind of getting to showcase these female creators. I can't wait to see the take on these and read through these stories. And I'm hoping maybe this is one I can con your mom into reading too. Someday I'll get her to read superhero stuff. I'll talk about this one.
Okay.
All right, Unikorn #1. And this is put out by Scoot. This is Scout Comics, younger, not quite maybe YA-ish, but it's their younger reader label. I've enjoyed a few. I think we both have enjoyed a few of their stories. And a lot of these, and I think this is another one where they're putting out the first issue. And the great thing is this is a $1.99 book, so you can pick up the preview, see if you like the first issue, and then in a little while, a month or two, they'll put out the entire rest of the story in a trade. And I kind of like this model, especially for the YA stuff. I think it's a great way to preview new stuff. I bought it because not only did it sound like a cool story, but it sounded like a way that I might be able to trick your sister into reading some comic books. I haven't really gotten her hooked yet. I'm really hopeful with this one. So the hook for this one, we've got the main protagonist. She inherits I believe a horse farm / veterinary practice from an aunt or something. And one of the horses, she starts to long story short, I believe she finds that she thinks it might be a unicorn. So she starts digging around and she finds some interesting paperwork and like the history of this horse farm and what's going on in the veterinarian's office. It sounds like a fun adventure book, some fantasy, unicorns. I'm hoping it'll hook your sister. I think you'll enjoy it too if it ends up being a good story.
Okay, so next on the list is Champions #6. So I believe we got this book when it kind of started the Outlawed. I didn't catch up on it right then and there. I know what the Outlawed concept is about, and the
so that's Camilla's Law or Camilla's Law.
I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah, it's basically a law that says teens can't be superheroes. So there's this team of champions. I know Nova, Miles, and Camilla.
Camilla Khan,
yeah.
Miss Marvel
are all on that team. There's some more, but I don't know right now off the top of my head. But I know that they're starting a new arc here with this company that's kind of like trying to enforce that law, and they started an app.
Yeah, there's a social media angle to this one in this arc that's kind of intriguing to us. We're looking forward to seeing how that plays out.
And just seeing those teams together with all those teen superheroes, to my opinion, is really cool. So
yeah, and clearly they're not very happy about the law that has basically outlawed teen superheroes without like a specific mentoring program. We've enjoyed some of the other crossover, like Power Pack, which you've been really enjoying, has crossed over and talked about this law. Basically, any of the younger teen heroes at this point have been affected by this.
Yep.
So another fun book. It's one of those that I need to catch up on. Jake's much more current on it than I am. So maybe with a new work starting up, it's a good time for me to catch up.
So because you've been taking over all the book slots, I got another one coming, which is Flash number 769. I will admit, again, I'm a book or two behind on this. Don't hate me. But I know that I picked it up really far into this. I think right at the start of a new arc, too. And I really, really enjoyed the book. It was, I think, right before Future State happened.
It was. We jumped on a few issues before Future State.
But I really, really enjoyed it, seeing Barry and everything, and it's really enjoyable.
We like Barry. Sorry, John. Barry is our Flash.
Yes,
nothing against Wally, but we like Barry.
Flash,
we have too much history watching the Flash TV show as a family.
Yeah.
So as I understand it, as we left off, not going into too many spoilers, Wally had had a really hard time, right?
Yep.
And he'd gone through some stuff, did some things. I think he had finally gotten to a point where just as you think he's going to take over, and like Barry's going off to do his own thing with in the new Infinite
Frontiers.
Thank you, Infinite Frontiers. He's going off to do his new thing, check out these other realms, see what's going on, and he's trying to hand over the Flash mantle to Wally. Wally kind of decides maybe he doesn't want it, so he sets up basically he wants to have Flash help depower him because he doesn't want that burden anymore. So there's an accident that happens, and then I think you were definitely way too young, and I have not made you watch this show, but I think we get a quantum leapy sort of thing happening here with Wally as he jumps into the body of past speedsters, past, present, and future speedsters. So I think here he is jumping ahead, if I'm not mistaken, in this particular one. So I think this arc's going to go on for a little while, and Wally's going to get to kind of experience life through other speedsters' eyes. I'm looking forward to it. I love Quantum Leap, so that doesn't bother me that this is a rip-off of that concept. I will watch that with you one day. It was actually, except for the series finale, it was a great show.
So I'm going to stop for a minute and let him discuss one of his picks, which is Crimson Flower, number 4.
Number 4. We're up to number 4. I can't remember if this is a 5-issue limited or if it's going to run longer. This is another one that I've kept on the pull list, mostly because I really trust the creator, Matt Kent. I got introduced to him a few months back now at this point. I really liked Fear Case. I've been enjoying that series as it came out, and because I liked Fear Case, I went back and I read Bang, and I really enjoyed that. So he's one of these creators, and that's starting to pique my interest, and I probably at this point, since I'm so far into it, I'll just wait until I have the whole series, and then I'll sit down and read it. So I think this one's going to it's going to stay in the stack until I have the end of it. But I'm really looking forward to it. If it's anything like the other works of his that I've enjoyed, that one will be a good read.
So, next up, I know practically nothing about this book, Stray Dogs, number 3. All I know is that this book has been on the comic picks quite a few times now, I would say. And I know that Mr. John, Mr. Chandler, and I think you all like this book.
And our friend Mickey really has enjoyed this book as well. And despite it essentially part of the premise of this book being sort of a Disney animated take on dogs, this is not a kid's book. This is crossing like a serial killer mystery stuff with a bunch of dogs. And it's a premise that I was really skeptical, and I finally caught up on this a week or two ago. And I loved every page of it. It's just when you look at this on paper, my brain says this concept should not work. But everything from the art to the story to the letter, it's great storytelling. I'm really enjoying it. There's not much more I can say about it. If you haven't checked this book out, we're not too far in. I believe this is only issue number 3. I think I've seen that there are some second printings either coming or already out there. You got to check this one out. It is a unique premise. It's a great read. Not for you yet, but in a few years, I think you'll enjoy this one.
So, next up, from Marvel, we got Dr. Aphra, number 9. Sorry for butchering that name.
And you haven't jumped in on this. I got into it. I started noticing it because it was hot. Some folks were coming into the shop when I was around looking for some of the variant covers, and we had scored one at some point. But then as I was reading it, I really enjoyed it. We're out. We don't have any current Star Wars. We're done with The Mandalorian. We don't have anything new coming for a while. So I've been jumping into some of the Star Wars books. I'm a few issues behind, but I really love the adventure aspect of this. It's definitely not your typical Jedi story. It's a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying it. I'm going to keep it on the pull list, and I'm hoping to catch up in the next week or two.
So, Eternals, number 4. Quick learning break. So, I know that Thanos makes an appearance in this, and they basically are this...
Well, we don't know about this issue, but he's involved in this series.
Yes, and that there are a big group of superheroes that are all immortal and have been protecting the planet, and that Thanos is kind of back, and they've kind of been hiding it from people.
Yeah, this is... Eternal's been around forever. You and I have never really... I read the first issue, I got really interested, and then got lost and behind because there's so much other great reading. I think we should try to move this up the stack and catch up on it this week. I like the characters. I like the introduction. This was a good primer for us. I think anyone who wants to jump in and learn more about these characters, and of course, like you said, Thanos, which is always a fun time, or not. I think that's a book. It'll stay on our pull list. I think it's one worth checking out.
So, next up is The Walking Dead Deluxe number 13. I know nothing about this book besides that there are zombies and there is a TV show or movie about this.
Yep, and you're not going to know anything about that one for a while because it's really not a kid-appropriate book. I jumped in. I was not collecting comics, and I never read the original. When I saw that the special edition, everything this time around it's in color. There's actual cool commentary stuff at the back. I've really been enjoying it. Now, again, I'm behind a couple of issues, but I've really been enjoying reading these as they come out, or relatively soon after they come out for the first time, since I never read it the first time around, I feel like it's my second chance to get a do-over and to experience this book. I'm really enjoying it. Everyone knows what this is. If you didn't get on it the first time around, this is back out, and as I understand it, it's the only way that you're ever going to be able to get these books in color with these notes, etc. So it's been a fun read. I'm keeping it on my list. Unless something happens and I really get turned off on the book, I'm sticking in to read the whole run.
So, next up by Boom, there is Spectre and Spectres number 3. Now, you take it away, because I, again, know nothing about this book.
This book's got a bit of a Scooby-Doo sort of gang vibe to it, and this is another one from Boombox, which, much like Scout's Scoot imprint, this one is geared more toward younger readers, or at least it's younger reader friendly. My intent with this one was to grab a few issues and you and I catch up on it. It's absolutely one we're going to read together. So not much else. I haven't read it. I'm going to read it, I promise, and at some point I'll report back. But I really like the imprint that some of these indie guys or these companies are going after and targeting more YA crowds.
So, for another number 3 from Boom, it is Luna. I, again, know nothing about this book, so you take it away.
I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure why I jumped in on it at this point, but it's one of those, I'm terrible about coming off a book. Someone recommended it to me, and reading the solicits, I'm not even sure that this is going to be for me. It's 5-issue miniseries. I think this is number 3. I'm kind of 3 deep into it at this point. I'll catch up, but there's a high chance I just stay on it and read it all, and for better or worse, I'll get the whole story at that point.
Okay, so for a different change of pace, this is from Image. This is The Old Guard. And shocking turn of events, I still know nothing about this book.
You didn't watch the movie with your mom and I, did you?
I don't know. Is there a movie?
There absolutely is a Netflix movie that had
Then no, I did not watch the movie with you.
Read the first. It's definitely bloody, but I'm going to let you read this one. I really enjoyed the movie, really enjoyed the first graphic novel. So did my wife. I still need to read the follow-up graphic novel. But while I was flipping through previews, I saw that it was a new series, and this series, I believe, is kind of going back with the characters from the main series there and giving us some of the historic missions and such as they've been on. I really like these characters, like the world. I'm looking forward to reading this in the floppy format as it comes out.
Okay, so next up, we got number 4. Shocking turn of events. Again, I know nothing about this book.
This one I was ready to jump off of. This is a sort of a book in the lines of Ice Cream Man. It's kind of different story every week, and I kind of enjoyed the first 2, but then I heard this is limited and it's eventually going to wrap up, or very close to the wrap up. It's going to cross over with Ice Cream Man, which I do like a little better. So I'm gonna stick it out and see where this goes. So I'm 1 issue behind. I've read 1, 2. This is 4, so we will catch up and see. It's going to stay on the pull list for now.
So, for another shocking turn of events, this is I Walk with Monsters, number 5, that I know nothing about besides that somebody walks with monsters.
Another indie book that I can't resist indie books, especially when I see a number 1. I jumped on this one, kind of didn't know anything about it, have really enjoyed it. This deals with a young woman and her companion, and they are basically hunting bad guys, and there's some stuff, and they're getting very closer. I am current on this one, I believe. I've actually really enjoyed this from the beginning, and they are getting closer to kind of resolving or going after one of the people from her past that had done some things, without going into spoilers. Fun read, definitely a darker book. Great characters, great art. At this point, I think this is limited. Might be worth trade waiting for this one, but I'm all on board. I'm going to keep it on the pull list and see where it goes.
Watch this book break his heart, and there only being like 10 issues.
That's usually how it goes. I fall in love with an indie book and then find out it's limited.
So, next up, from Dark Horse Comics, it is Lady Baltimore, number 2 out of 5, The Witch Queens. Again, I know nothing about it, so you take it away.
I'm not even honestly sure how this one ended up on the pull list. I think it was another, I was flipping through previews late at night, or it might have been since, I'm originally from Baltimore. Yeah. It's, we still live here in Maryland. I saw Baltimore, probably has nothing to do with any of that, but it caught my eye. I know there's witches, monsters, and magic, and it sounded fun. So I will go back and see if I can dig issue number 1 out of our short box, catch up, and I will report back on that in the next video or two.
Okay, so for our last book, all the way from Image Comics, it is
Americana.
Post-Americana number 5, and I know nothing about this book again. What a shocker.
This one's probably not necessarily... I mean, you could read it, but you may not enjoy it. This is number 5. I think I've read 1 through 3 so far. I've really enjoyed what I have read of it. It's definitely... I'm hit or miss with apocalyptic stuff, but we've got a heroine who's kind of navigating exactly what it sounds like, a post-apocalyptic America, and dealing with everything from Mad Max style folks to cannibal. It's a crazy book. There's lots of adventure, lots of violence. It's been fun. I need to catch up on this one and see where this one is going. I'm going to keep it on the pull list.
So I'm going to throw in a little twist here. We always do a father-son perspective on our picks.
Yep.
Right here, right now, I want you and me both to choose our top 3 favorite reads we are looking forward to.
For this week?
For this week.
Oh my goodness. We do need to come up with our brainstorm top 3, which we're going to go work on here in a little bit.
I'll go first if you want while you can think about it.
Please, I'm going to Google and cheat. Okay,
so for my number 1 pick, Carnage, Black, White, and Blood, number 2. Anything symbiotes, you got to be on my list, you know. It's, again, like we've already talked about, really looking forward to it. Then I'm not going to go too in detailed with it because, we've already talked about it. Next up would be Black Knight and the Ebony Blade. That is definitely a book I'm looking forward to. Come out from Marvel. I know it had a King of Black tie-in. I'm really looking forward to it. And for number 3, it is the Batman and Fortnite Crossover 0 Point book, which again I'm really excited to read. I want to see how they put the spin on it, and see if they do like any crossover in Fortnite or anything with it. Because I know they're doing like Fortnite to comic books, but it would be cool to see like comic book to Fortnite,
Yep.
You think you got your picks ready?
Yeah, I think you bought me enough time. Thank you for that, and thank you for putting me on the spot.
You're welcome.
I usually get a little more time to think about it as I'm typing up Chandler and John and Belmori's picks. I think I am going to have to go with... I'm still stalling. I really enjoyed Alien number 1. I'm actually really looking forward to. I'm not saying it's going to be the best book, but I'm really looking forward to reading it and seeing where the story goes. So I would put that on my personal list as a book I'm excited to read. It's something different than all the other books that I'm reading. I like the Xenomorphs. I like the Alien storyline. I hope it continues to deliver. I'm going to go with the Old Guard, Tales Through Time. Really like those characters. I've wanted more. There hasn't, since I've read the graphic novels, watched the movie, there hasn't been a regular series out since I started reading those and knew that I liked them. So I'm looking forward to having a series for however long this lasts. And I will close out with Stray Dogs number 3. I can't say enough how much this doggone book has surprised me. It's been really great story. I'm hearing from at least one person I trust that number 3 might be the best issue yet, which is high praise for a series that has just been consistently original. I won't say fun because of the subject matter, but it's been a really interesting read. I can't wait to see where this story goes. So Stray Dogs number 3 for me.
So there are our personal picks that we are looking forward to. So let's close this video out. We're done with our haul. We want to thank you for watching. Thanks for looking at our haul. Maybe you find some books that you want to pick up this week because of us. Go support your local comic shop if you have one new year.
If you're here in the Frederick, Maryland area, like Jake and I are, Brainstorm Comics and Gaming, and John and the folks over there are our go-to shop. We do a lot. Obviously, we do a lot of videos. We're friends with the whole crew. We do a lot over there. We would encourage you to go check out either location, Walkersville or downtown Frederick. Very easy to set up a subscription. They do a lot for us, and they help enable us to do these videos and really help kind of develop the love of comic reading.
Yep, and just in general, helping out your comic shop doesn't hurt.
No, and they need it now more than ever. So we encourage you to go check out some of these books if you have a local comic shop. If you don't, there's a bunch of ways to read. It's never been easier to jump in, even if you have to go digital. Enjoy some of these books. Maybe even use one of those Batman Fortnite books as kind of a jumping on point if you have some young ones at home you'd like to get reading.
So, like and subscribe if you liked watching our video, if you liked our content.
Yeah, feel free to like and subscribe even if you didn't.
Give us some comments.
let us know what you're looking for. We're trying to take this video series we're trying to make a show that we would like. There's so many speculator stuff out there,
we
and
just
people
want to show that we can find books that we really want to read instead of just speculator books that are going up, you know?
Yep, exactly. So we're not going to give you, if you're looking for the list of the hottest comics and the ones you should invest in, this isn't your show. But if you're looking to see what other folks are reading, or maybe pick up some ideas for stuff you should check out, or better yet, to find some things maybe you could read together as a family, I think this is the perfect place to be to check that stuff out.
Yep, and again, we're going to be covering some different things here, board games, D&D a little bit, and all sorts of other stuff, you know?
Yep, so stay tuned. Keep an eye on the At the Table channel. We've been working on some Magic content, certainly some D&D, and I think we're going to crank up some interviews soon to kind of introduce you to some of our other friends that are going to be helping out with the content around here.
Okay, so this was Jason and Jake, and this was our weekly comic call.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.